Reading Code for Non-Programmers. 02 Ship Claude Basics. Lesson 4, Video 3.
Here's something that surprises most people. You don't need to understand code to use it, but you can learn to read it enough to make changes, spot problems, and feel confident working with what Claude gives you. Code is just text. Words, numbers, and symbols arranged in a specific way. Think of it like reading a recipe in a language you don't fully speak. You might not understand every word, but you can recognize patterns. Before we look at actual code, let's talk about how code is organized. When Claude gives you a project, it comes in a folder structure, like a filing cabinet. The main folder has subfolders, and those have files. The key folder to know is SRC. That stands for source, as in source code. That's where all the action happens. Inside SRC, you'll find components, reusable building blocks like Lego pieces, and pages, where each file becomes a page on your website.
Every code file has three main parts: imports at the top, logic in the middle, and exports at the bottom. Imports are like an ingredient list at the top of a recipe. They bring in tools and components the file needs. Logic is the actual instructions, what the file does. And exports are like putting a label on a shipping box. They make the file available to other parts of the project. The return statement in the middle section is usually the most useful part for you. This is where the actual content that appears on screen is defined. If you want to change what shows up on a page, a heading, a button label, a color, look for the return statement. That's where the visible stuff lives.
Now, let's talk about safe zones, the parts of code you can change without breaking anything. First, anything in quotes. Whether it's single quotes, double quotes, or backticks, the text inside is usually content that appears on screen. Second, numbers, which control size, spacing, and timing. Third, colors, written as hex codes like #3498DB. And fourth, URLs and file paths. These are all safe to modify. And now, the danger zones, the parts you should not touch unless you know what you're doing. First, brackets. The curly braces, parentheses, and angle brackets are the grammar of code. Delete one, and the file breaks. Second, import statements at the top. If you delete or modify an import, the file loses access to tools it needs. Third, variable names. If you change a variable name in one place, you'll break every other place that references it. Here's a real piece of code with the safe zones and danger zones marked. The green highlights show what you can safely change: the text and quotes, the color values, the numbers. The red highlights show what to leave alone: the brackets, the import statements, the function declarations. If you stick for the green zones, you'll be fine. And here's the best part. When you don't understand something, just ask Claude. You can copy any piece of code and say, "What does this function do?" Or, "Explain this code in simple terms." Claude will break it down for you line by line. It's like having a built-in tutor who never gets tired of your questions.
Let me show you how this works in practice. I'm going to take a Claude-generated component and make 5 changes, all in the safe zones. We'll change the heading text, the paragraph text, 2 colors, and a font size.
Changes 1 and 2. Text changes. I find the heading in quotes, "Welcome to our app," and change it to "Hello from O2 Ship." Then I find the paragraph text and change it to "Build your ideas with Claude AI." Both are just text in quotes, completely safe. Changes 3 and 4. Color changes. I find the background color hex code #3498DB, which is blue, and change it to #E67E22, which is orange. Then I find the button color and change it from green to #8E448D, which is purple. Colors are safe zones. Change any hex code to another hex code. Change 5. A number change. I find font size 24 and change it to 36 to make the text bigger. Numbers that control size, spacing, and timing are all safe to modify.
Look at the before and after. Same component, 5 changes, all in safe zones, and the result looks completely different. You just customize code without being a programmer. That's the power of knowing your safe zones.
Here's the golden workflow for making changes. Make one change, save the file, check the browser, repeat. Don't make 10 changes at once and then check. If something breaks, you won't know which change caused it. One change at a time. Save, check. This simple habit will save you hours of frustration.
That wraps up Lesson 4. You've learned what artifacts are and how to use them. You've set up your development environment, and now you can read and modify code without being the programmer. You're working with real code now, and that's a huge milestone.
Key takeaways. Folders organize your code like a filing cabinet. Every file has 3 parts: imports, logic, exports. Safe zones are text in quotes, numbers, colors, and URLs. Danger zones are brackets, imports, and variable names. Ask Claude when you're unsure. And save, test, repeat is your golden workflow.
Here's your homework for Lesson 4. Exercise 1. Set up and run your first artifact. Install VS Code and Node.js, generate a project with Claude, and get it running. About 60 minutes. Exercise 2. Customize an artifact. Make 5 meaningful changes without breaking it. About 45 minutes. Exercise 3. Debug and fix. Intentionally break something, then use Claude to fix it. Document the whole process. About 30 minutes.
In Lesson 5, we'll level up to managing projects, keeping context across conversations, and building something more complex. The building is getting very real. Join our Discord, share your customized code, and I'll see you in Lesson 5.